which provided the situation analysis of the science advice system in each of the partner countries included in the study. In summary, it showed that the regional countries surveyed used diverse structures of processes related to scientific advice. This included science advisory councils, agencies or boards, and these bodies were the commonest that was recorded. And most of these countries used this system. And in addition, some of the countries also had a chief science advisor. Then there was ad hoc appointments made by way of task forces mostly in a few countries. How the advisors were selected again it varied in different countries. Appointments could be by an executive authority or nomination by science organizations. And who framed the questions initially? Usually it was by policymakers or parliamentary committee or by the head of state. Then synthesizing evidence, the method used included systematic reviews, meta-analysis. In some instances, surveys were done with consultative meetings. Expert opinions were sought in some cases, use of foresight tools, and workshops and meetings of experts for review of evidence. The gathered evidence needed to be communicated, and the communicating science advice was usually done through reports. And these reports were issued by the science advisors or the bodies involved, and it was directed sometimes directly to the presidential office or to a cabinet office, or submitted to the secretary of the Ministry of Science and Technology, to the head of state, or sometimes reports to the relevant minister and presidential secretariat. The effectiveness of the process or the impact of scientific evidence that shaped policy was rarely evaluated. That was something important noted. We also noted the role played by National Science Academies varied from country to country. In some countries, there was full involvement of National Science Academy, while in some others, only for targeted activities. The data gathered through the questionnaire was also used to do a SWOT analysis. That is, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats were listed out within the data that were gathered, and this is what we found for Sri Lanka. But I'm not going to go into details because this is also part of the report and it is out there in public domain. So one of the aims was to develop a contextualized roadmap for each of these countries. And we used the experiential learning and also SWOT analysis and teasing out its key elements. The foundation was laid to develop context-specific roadmaps for each of these countries. Some countries already had a system, and this was used for improving the system that existed. So the key findings were the effectiveness of science advisory mechanisms in countries tended to vary. Even in countries that appeared to have similar systems, superficially, it don't seem to have the same level of operational effectiveness or impact. This showed the importance of mechanisms that are used in this process. Malaysia stood out among the regional countries in having a strong science advisory system in place that aided policy making in that country. The key outcomes were, this became a landmark effort. This was the first time science advice systems in countries were documented with situation analysis, which was reinforced with SWOT analysis and also case studies. I really didn't go into case studies, but that was also done. All partners agreed to work towards developing context-specific roadmaps tailored to their own settings, with all stakeholder involvement. This effort also resulted in the release of what we refer to as Colombo Declaration, which called on governments across the world to institutionalize science advice. And this declaration was disseminated widely through many websites and networks. This is the Colombo Declaration, and all the national academies that were part of this study were the signatories of this declaration. So now we have this validated questionnaire, together data, a framework for analysis, and methods to replicate similar studies in any part of the world. And the final report was published and disseminated widely through local and international scientific networks. This, we believe, promoted awareness mainly among the scientific community, including younger generation of scientists, creating opportunities to be part of this transformative process that, of course, is continuing. This is the base page of the report that is out there on the web. It is also shared through the Open Science Framework, in addition to the Academy website and IAC and NASA website. Before I end, I would like to acknowledge others who were involved in this work, the co-members of project team. The other members were Sarojai Singh, P.N. Dayas, and Ranjit Mahindrapala. Professor Nirmala Korteguda and NASTEC for assisting with data collection on processes that are in place in Sri Lanka. And I would like to acknowledge ASA and Inter-Academic Partnership for financial assistance, which enables this work. And also study partners from regional academies and societies who contributed to this work. And thank you for your patient listening.
Thank you, Professor Karunaveda. And ladies and gentlemen, now we move to the second session, which introduces the Colombo Framework, which is a structured and forward-looking approach